What's the name of the only one of Disney's 7 dwarfs who does not have a beard? You will find out when one of these 3 contestants wins the chance to drive home in this brand new Pontiac Fiero GT in just a split second. And now, here's the star of our show, Monty Hall.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Welcome to our show. Glad to have you here. Well, in answer to that question, I'm sure that you're just dying to find out the answer. Only Dopey doesn't have a beard. Is that because he's a little shaver? No, I don't want credit for that answer either, or the question. We do have fun on Split Second, but then when the game starts, it really gets serious. And we have 3 contestants here out to win cash and a brand new car. And here is Sandy to introduce them.
Monty, first we have our returning champion, our music-loving doctor who plays 12 instruments, Marv Zelsman. Next, a mother of 3 who devotes a great deal of time as a hospital volunteer. Meet Joyce Chapnick. And on your right, a lady whose family photo album is filled with over and underexposed pictures, Gail Dykstra.
Well, let's say hello to our contestants. Marv, you won the championship last time out, so you're coming back for a 2-time champion perhaps today.
Yes.
Last program, we talked about your playing 12 musical instruments. We didn't talk about medicine, so let's talk about medicine today. Do you have a specialty?
I have 2. I do clinical nutrition and I do acupuncture.
Oh, that's quite a variation, isn't it, from one to the other?
Quite true, except they're both preventive medicine to a certain extent.
Well,
so.
if you believe in nutrition, don't have the lunch here at the studio today. That's the first thing that I can tell you about.
Thank you for the tip.
Not at all. But anyhow, we hope that you stay on and we can learn more about you. And Joyce, what did we find out about you? That you're a hospital volunteer?
Yes.
What do they call that? A pink lady? Is that what they call them?
The volunteers usually are candy stripers, but
candy stripers, right?
I'm more involved in the Women's Auxiliary Board of Directors of the hospital, and we help raise funds for medical research.
You know that my father, when he lived in Palm Springs and was retired, didn't know what to do with himself, so he went to the hospital and volunteered, and he became a candy striper. He was the only man with 20 women. And he had the time of his life. He was involved, but he enjoyed the volunteer work more than anything he'd ever done.
Oh, yes.
You know, doing something for
I enjoy
people
it
is
very
always
much.
great.
Right.
Well, that's great, Joyce. And Gail, we'll find out something about you when we come back for the second round, okay? Let's start our game. This is Split Second, and it's unusual because in our show, every time we have a question, there are 3 possible answers, and we want 1 answer from each of you. Now, every time all 3 of you give me a correct answer, you will get, in this round, $10. If only 2 of you come up with an answer, it's worth $25. If only 1 of you comes up with an answer, it's worth $50. All right? So here we go. Remember, the first person to buzz in will answer the question, but you can't buzz in until you see the whole question, or you face a lockout device. Here we go. Every major city in the world has 1 or more colorful districts that tourists love to visit, like the French Quarter in New Orleans. I'll show you 3 other famous districts. Pick one and name the city it's in. Look at the screen. The Latin Quarter, the Piccadilly Circus, and the Ginza. Marv.
Piccadilly Circus is in London.
Correct. Gail?
The Ginza is in Tokyo.
That's right. Joyce, the Latin Quarter on the left bank?
Is Paris.
Right. Absolutely right. $10 apiece. That's all 3 of you scored. You know, those nighttime soap operas like Dallas and Dynasty and Falcon Crest have captured the TV audience. So here are 3 beautiful stars of those primetime soaps. Pick one, name the show that she stars on. Look at the screen. We have Linda Gray and Joan Collins and Diane Carroll. And Joyce, you're first.
Joan Collins, Dynasty.
Correct. Marv?
Linda Gray is in Falcon Crest.
No, that's not right. Gail?
Diane Carroll is in Dynasty.
That's right, and Linda Gray was in Dallas. Doctor's too busy to watch soap operas. He
Much
didn't
too
get any
busy.
points on that one. Joyce and Gail do, and they get $25 apiece. In the concert field, there are musical works that lead all the rest in popularity. Here are 3 of those popular classics. Name the composer. Look at the screen. The Nutcracker Suite, the Moonlight Sonata, and the Blue Danube Waltz. Gail.
The Nutcracker Suite is by Rachmaninoff.
I'm sorry, that's not right. Marv?
The Nutcracker Suite is Tchaikovsky.
Yes, Joyce?
Blue Danube Waltz is by Strauss.
Which one?
Richard.
No, Johann Strauss, I'm sorry. And Moonlight Sonata is Beethoven. So only Marv scores, and Marv gets himself a full $50. There are many championship events associated with different sports. I'll name the event, you name the sport that's associated with it. Look at the screen. We have Wimbledon, we have the Augusta Masters, and we have the Calgary Stampede. Gail.
Wimbledon is tennis.
Mm-hmm. And then Marv a second.
The Calgary Stampede is rodeo.
Right, and Joyce, the Augusta Masters is? Golf. Golf is the Augusta Masters. So Gail and Marv get $25 each. Let's look at the score. Marv is in the lead with $85. Gail is in second place with 60. Joyce trails with 35. Dogs vary a great deal in size. For instance, a pug is one of a breed of small dogs. I'll give the names of 3 other breeds of dogs. Pick one and tell me if it's smaller or larger than a pug. Look at the screen. There's the Chihuahua, the Weimaraner, and the Boxer. And Marv.
Boxer is larger.
Right. And Gail?
A Chihuahua would be smaller.
Yes. And the Weimaraner?
Would be larger.
That's correct. All 3 are correct. You know your dogs, and you get $10 each. Fictional characters in great plays that have been made into movies have become almost as famous as the play itself. I'll name these famous characters. You name the play or movie. Look at the screen. Everybody remembers Willie Loman and Captain Queeg and Stanley Kowalski. It should be an easy one for you, Joyce.
Willie Loman is,
It's on the tip of your tongue. Gail.
Willie Loman is Death of a Salesman.
Right. And Marv?
Stanley Kowalski is A Streetcar Named Desire.
Right. And Captain Queeg, the Cane Mutiny. Remember, always playing with the little steel ball. So Marv and Gail get $25 each, and Marvin has the lead. Gail's in second. Here are 3 lines. Each of them ends in an abbreviation. Pick one. Tell me what the abbreviation stands for. Look at the screen. TGIF, TLC, and BYOB, and Gail.
I need a little tender loving care.
Do you, Gail?
Yes.
We'll talk. Joyce.
TGIF, thank goodness it's Friday.
Well, I'll take thank goodness or thank God it's Friday. Right. Marv?
And BYOB, Bring Your Own Bottle.
Yes, not to my parties you don't. Okay, so each of you are correct and get $10 apiece. Most of us know that California's nickname is the Golden State. Name the state to which the following nicknames belong. Look at the screen. They are the Sunshine State, the Empire State, the Lone Star State. Marv?
The Empire State is New York.
Correct. Joyce?
Lone Star State is Texas.
Right. And the Sunshine State?
Is Florida.
Right. All 3 get $10 apiece. Some of the most familiar games that we play are played on squares. I'll name the games. You pick one. Tell me the number of squares in that game. Look at the screen. How many squares in tic-tac-toe, in bingo, and in checkers? And Joyce, you rang in first.
Tic-tac-toe 9.
That is correct. Marv?
Bingo, 75.
No, I'm sorry. Gail?
36.
No. Bingo has 25. 5 rows, 5 numbers, 25. Checkers had 64, 8 by 8. And Joyce, you get the whole $50 all to yourself. And now you're tied for second. I'm going to give you the full names of 3 famous Rosemarys. Pick one and tell me what her profession is. Look at the screen. There is Rosemary Prince and Rosemary Casals and Rosemary Clooney and Marv.
Rosemary Clooney is a singer.
Right. Joyce?
Rosemary Casals is a musician.
No, I'm sorry, Gail. Well, there'll be-
Rosemary.
I'm sorry, Rosemary Casals is a tennis player, and Rosemary Prince is the actress who was on daytime soaps for a long, long time. Marvin picked up the whole $50, and he has a commanding lead at the end of round 1 with $190. Joyce and Gail are tied for second with $115. We double the stakes in the second round. We've talked to Marv and Joyce. Let's meet Gail now at the beginning of the show. Sandy said something about you being a bad photographer.
I try real hard. I
Yeah.
really do. But every time I take a picture, I cut off somebody's head. It's underexposed, it's overexposed, and everything's out of focus. At this point, the local photography studio, they know me when I get there. They just hand me the photographs back and shake my hand, and they say, better luck next time.
You have something in common with our director. Just kidding, Chief. But Gail, that's very interesting. But I must say that our director keeps in focus, but my wife has something in common with you. She goes on a trip and comes back with 700 pictures, of which maybe 2 are presentable. I don't know what it is. Is it the fact that you don't concentrate on getting it everything?
I try. You know what? There are even more pictures that I've never been able to take because sometimes I keep the lens cap on.
Oh, boy. Listen, Gail, next time you take a trip, don't call me. Isn't that something? Everything wrong. Lens cap on, out of focus. Everything can go wrong goes wrong with poor Gail. Well, maybe you'll make enough money today to be able to take lessons in photography, right?
Nice.
That would be good. As we go into the second round, this time we're going to double the amounts of money that you're trying for. 20 if 3 of you answer, 50 if 2 of you answer, and $100 if only 1 of you answers, and you could put you right back into first place. That's how close the match is. Here we go. Canada has given the United States a number of its movie and television stars. I'll identify 3 of these famous Canadians. You name them. Look at the screen. The star of Blues Brothers, Lois Lane and Superman, and starred in MASH and Clute. Marv.
Blues Brothers and Ghost Brothers was Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd is right. Joyce.
Lois Lane in Superman is,
Gail, can you give me either one of the other two?
Mash and Clute would be Donald Sutherland.
Right, and the star as Lois Lane and Superman is Margot Kidder.
Kidder.
Yeah, I'm sorry you didn't get any points there, but Marv and Gail do, and they get $50, and I'm moving away from you, Joyce. Various names are given for different types of furniture. For example, a ladder back is a chair. What specific pieces of furniture are defined by the following? Look at the screen. There is a trundle, there is a gate leg, there is a wing, and Gail.
Gate leg is a gate leg table.
That's a table, correct. Marv.
Trundle is a bed.
Trundle is a bed. Joyce, a wing.
is a chair.
Correct. All three of you right. All three of you get $20. In tennis, you've often heard the terms love and volley. I'll give you three other groups of sports terms. You name the sport they go with. Look at the screen. There's a keyhole in traveling. There's an English in carom. There's a duster and slider. And Joyce is in first.
Keyhole and,
You know,
Sorry.
No, Joyce, I'm going to tell you something right when the round is finished. Gail,
A duster and a slider, that would be baseball.
right, and Marv?
Keyhole and traveling would be basketball.
Right. Now, what I want to tell you, Joyce, is that when you buzz in first, you don't have to take the first part of the question. You can take any one of the three. You seem to be going for the top one each time and getting stymied. So take any one of the three when you get in, okay?
Thank you.
I just want to make that clear in case
Okay.
it was unclear to you. But Marv and Gail get $50 apiece. I'll show you the losing candidates in 3 presidential elections, and you name the winners. Look at the screen. The losing candidates were Adlai Stevenson, Richard Nixon, and Gerald Ford. Gail.
Adlai Stevenson was beaten by Dwight David Eisenhower.
Right. Marv.
Richard Nixon was beaten by Kennedy.
That's correct. And Joyce? Gerald Ford was beaten by Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter
Carter.
beat Gerald Ford. Gail and Marv get $50 each. Let's look at the score. Marv has $360. Gail has $285. Joyce has $135. I will name 3 major cities that are located at one end of a major world canal. You pick the city and name the canal. The cities are Port Said, Buffalo, Cologne. Marv.
Buffalo is the Erie Canal.
Correct. Gail.
Cairo would be Port Said.
Well, what country would that be?
Egypt.
You picked the city of Port Said. What country?
In Egypt.
Yes. And the third part of Joyce is Cologne, which is...
Cologne, Italy.
No, Panama Canal.
Panama.
Marvin Gail score. Now we turn to food. In the world of food, things aren't always what they seem. For instance, a baked Alaska isn't a hot Eskimo. That wasn't such a hot joke. It happens to be an ice cream dessert. Now, here are 3 other food dishes that may or may not be what they sound like. So pick one and tell me its main ingredient. Look at the screen. Scotch woodcock, jugged hare, and Welsh rabbit. Joyce. Gail,
Welsh rabbit would be cheese.
right? Marv?
Scotch woodcock would be an egg.
Yes, correct. And the jugged hare is rabbit. And so now we go to take a look at the score and see that Marv again leads, Gail second, Joyce third. I'm going to give you 3 groups of 3 names. In each case, all 3 are leaders in a specific artistic field. Pick a group, name their specific artistic field, look at the screen. There are names in groups of 3. Everybody at home has seen them, and now, Marv, you jumped in first.
Sills, Melba, and Callis are opera singers.
That is right. Gail.
I can't resist. Adams, Brady, and Steichen are photographers.
Yes, and just a little bit better than you, Gail. And Joyce.
Moore, Giacometti, and Rodin are sculptors.
That's right, and each one of you scored $20. I'm going to give you the names of 3 famous cartoon duos that almost always appear together in cartoon movies. Pick a set and name the kind of animal that these characters are. It's a duo. Take a look and tell me what duos they are. Gail.
Tom and Jerry are mice.
No, they're not. I'm sorry. And Marv?
Tom and Jerry. Tom is a cat and Jerry's a mouse.
Yes, you don't have to identify each. A cat and a mouse would have been sufficient. And Joyce?
Tweety and Sylvester, bird and cat.
Bird and cat is right, and so the other one was Wiley and Roadrunner, a coyote and a bird. Marv and Joyce get $50 apiece. The works of Edgar Allan Poe are now established classics in world literature. I'll give you part of the titles of 3 works by Poe. You finish the title. Look at the screen. The Murders, The Purloined, The Fall of the House. Marv.
The Murders in the Rue Morgue.
Right. Gail.
The Fall of the House of Usher.
Right. Joyce. The Purloined Letter was the answer to that. Marv and Gail, $50 each. The downfall of leaders of countries have taken place throughout history. Here are 3 of these events. You name the countries in which they took place. Look at the screen. Ortega and Aquino, and the Nazis oust von Schuschnigg. And Gail, you're in first.
Marcos, that would be the Philippines.
That is correct. And Marv?
Somoza was Nicaragua.
That is correct. Joyce? Nazis oust von Schuschnigg in what country?
Germany.
No, right next door, Austria was the right
Austria.
answer to that one. And Marv and Gail get $50 apiece. Let's look at the score. At the end of the second round, Marv is in the lead with 630. Gail second, 505. Joyce third, 205. The exciting countdown round coming up. This is the countdown round, which determines who goes for the car. The questions are just as they were before, but this time when you buzz in, you can answer 1, 2, or all 3 parts of the question. Every time you have a right answer, you count down 1. The first to 0 will win. How many do you have to answer? Well, in terms of who had the most money, that's the person who has the least questions to answer. Marv, you keep your money, and so do the others. You only have to answer 4 questions to win the countdown round. Gail in second place has to answer 5. Joyce will have to answer 6. But since you can answer 3 parts to a question, you could make a good comeback. Here we go. We're going to find out who's going for the car. The countries of the Near and Middle East are in the headlines every day, so I want you to identify these 3 major leaders in the Eastern world. Look at the screen. The PLO chairman, the president of Egypt, and the king of Saudi Arabia. Marv.
PLO is Yasser Arafat.
That's right, you may continue.
Egypt is Mubarak.
That's right.
And King of Saudi Arabia is Faisal.
No, it is not Faisal. Can you give me the right one, Gail?
No.
And Joyce? King Fahd? No, and you can't do it, so only Marv scores later, and he gets down to 2. He only needs 2 to win. He could do it on this question unless he's blocked out by one of the other 2 players. France has given the world a number of outstanding writers who have been translated into English and are studied and read in our schools. I want you to name the French writers who gave us these great literary characters. Look at the screen. Madame Bovary, the Count of Monte Cristo, and Candide. And who's in first? Marv's in first. He just needs 2 to win.
Candide is Voltaire.
Right, 1 more and you've got another championship.
The Count of Monte Cristo is...
I'm sorry, not in time. Gail. Can you give me either of them? No, can Joyce?
Flaubert for Madame Bovary.
Right, continue. Can you give me the Count of Monte Cristo?
Zola, Count of
No,
Monte
Alexander Dumas. And so
Dumas.
now look at the score. Marv still needs 1. Joyce and Gail each need 5. Let's go to history. Early explorers who sailed the seas couldn't always get their own countries to back them, so they went to work for other countries. Here are 3 explorers who sailed under other flags. Take a look at the screen. Christopher Columbus, Magellan, and Vespucci. Marv, you just need 1.
Christopher Columbus sailed for Spain.
He sailed for Spain. You win the game. The Portuguese Magellan also sailed for Spain, and the Italian Vespucci sailed for Portugal. And so Marv is the winner one more time. Yes, he sailed for Spain, you win the game, and I guess you 2 cannot complain. And that's Joyce and Gail. And Joyce, it was wonderful having you on the show.
So nice.
You'll take home $205. Gail, $505 should buy you a course in photography. And remember to take the lens cap off.
I'll try.
Okay, and if you took my picture today, make it in focus, will you? Thank you. Now, let's you and I focus in on the car. Marv is a 2-time champion. Your odds will be improved. This is the car you're going for. Good luck. Dr. Marv, this is the car you're going for. Sandy will describe it.
Monty, that's the sporty Pontiac Fiero GT. It's equipped with all of Fiero's standard features like the fuel-injected V6 engine, cruise control, and AM/FM stereo cassette player, plus pop-off sunroof and air conditioning.
Well, Marv, on our last program, we were the winner. You chose screen number 4, and it wasn't the right one. So today, because you're a second-time winner, we're going to black out number 4, and your odds are improved because now it's behind 1, 2, 3, or 5, and now we're going to have your guess as to where that car would be. It's behind 1, 2, 3, or 5, one of them.
Let's try number 2.
Number 2 is the one that he wants. Let's take a look at number 2. The music plays, it turns around. Is there a car back there behind number 2? And no, there's another $1,000 to be added to your winnings. And where was the car today? And Laurie's going to show us it was back 5 again. He was waiting for you back of number 5. But should you come back and be a 3-time winner, we'll black out 2 of those screens, and your odds will improve. So far, with the 1,000 that you added now, you have $2,950. That's not bad. As we were talking a few moments ago about the price of 3 house calls for Dr. Marv over here, but he was teasing me. He said, no, only 2 house calls. So congratulations to you, and we'll see you on our next program where you meet 2 new challengers on the very exciting Split Second. Hope you'll all join us tomorrow at the same time for the exciting Split Second. Monty Hall saying bye-bye, everybody.
Split Second is a Stephen Haydas Monty Hall production.